Greetings, and I'm sincerely thrilled that you're here. Thank you for being here, and really thank you for caring enough about yourself to take the time to study what's going on with you. I was there one time years ago, right where you are. Not exactly where you are, but kind of where you are. Because one of the things that I did was when I decided that I wasn't going to do pornography anymore, I also decided that I would learn how to quit the right way because I had been in behavior modification and psychology and all that kind of stuff. So it wasn't new stuff. And I was able to realize that there was a lot to it. And so right from the beginning, I guess I was blessed to understand, to see what the situation is right off the bat, and to see that it was a journey, and to see that I needed to change inside in order for the outside to change. And I was able to embrace that. And I was able to decide on a date that I actually was going to stop for good, which I did. The date was a couple months after I had actually decided to stop and started doing some of the work that we're going to be doing here. So I don't understand what it is like to sit there and to try to not do something and to have my body, for lack of a better term, make me do something. And then I keep going and rinsing and repeating, oh, I'm not going to do this anymore. And, then I find out I do it. Oh, I'm not going to do this anymore. I'll never do this again. And then I find myself doing it. So I didn't go through any of that, because I was able to understand and embrace that there was a lot that I needed to do in order to not do the things that I was doing that I wasn't happy with. I wasn't looking for it to automatically just disappear. And I was able to understand the magnitude of the addiction. And there's people that have a pornography habit, and there's people that have an addiction. And there's actually two different approaches. Like if you've got a habit, I mean, we can deal with that like the same way we would deal with you biting your nails. But this is, for most people, after they do this behavior for 30 days, it becomes an addiction. And maybe you find yourself today in that place. But wherever you find yourself today, 90 days from now, you can find yourself in an entirely different place. Entirely different place. 90 days from now. I really think you can do it. You can get there in 30, but let's go for 90. 90 days. But the thing I want you to know is we can get you to zero in 90 days. But we can't keep you at zero. The way you keep yourself at zero, once you get to zero, is you keep growing. You continuously grow. And sadly, I got to tell you something. This is a growth process. This is a growth process like none that you've ever had. And I got news for you. The reason why it's a growth process is because the only way that you get to a point where you don't do porn anymore, you got to grow. You got to grow out of it. That's a little boy behavior, my friend. It's a childhood solution, as my friend Drew Boa says, that's become an adult problem for you. You used to use it because it helped you self-soothe, help you get through the day. But you used it so much that it's becoming a problem. And one of the things about this particular problem, and we'll talk about it as we go through this series, is that it escalates. And we can guarantee in some way, shape, or form, it escalates because of the nature of it. And you can't tell me that it's not going to escalate because I can show you why it's going to escalate. I can guarantee you why it's going to escalate. I know you want to think that, oh, no, he don't know. It don't always escalate. Yeah, it does escalate. And there's a reason why it's escalated. And all you have to do is look in your own life. Escalation. So, yeah. And if you think it's not going to escalate from where it is, it's going to escalate from where it is. So, the only way all this stuff stops is when you stop. And so this workshop for you is about you stopping. You stopping because you deserve it. You deserve a better life and a better experience than that of which you've been given yourself. So what I got before me is a bunch of slides that I put together through some hard work. Got to be honest. I don't even know what I'm going to say. But what I do know is I've been around this stuff for 7 years. And I know enough to help you get from where you are closer to where you want to be. So, I really invite you to stick with this through the end. Pull out your notebook, pull out your pen, read, write notes, stop, listen to it over and over again. Repetition is the mother of skill. You're not so smart that you can't listen to something more than once. But you got to be committed to this. And you got to be committed to change. And that's the only way that change is going to happen. It's going to happen out of your commitment. It's going to happen out of you doing different things. And it's not going to happen just because you wish it was going to happen. See, you can wish that you have a nice porn experience and then somehow you have a nice porn experience. So you think that you can wish a recovery. It's not going to work that way. There's different mentalities that you have to apply, and the mentality that you have to apply is you got to change. You can't wish change because this is what's going on. You did an experiment on yourself. You've been engaged in this experiment for years, and this is what it's done to you. It's right there before your eyes. What it's done, what it's doing, what you can count on it to do. Unless you change. And this is the one that really hurts some of the guys. This one wakes them up sometimes. But nonetheless, it's a journey. A journey. And it's a journey that I decided that I'm going to go with you. I've decided that I'm going to go with you through that journey. And what we need you to do is we need you to decide, hey, am I worth it? Am I a person that's worth spending 15 to 20 hours to kind of modify my behavior, check in with myself, make a difference in how I do things so that my life can be better, so that I can live up to my legacies, so that I can live up to what God has in store for me? Am I worth putting in the 12, 10, 15 hours up front to take in this information? And as I said before, that's where it begins. You take the information in and then you start to walk the talk. So This workshop is actually designed for all ages. However, because I did a special project for a youth group, you'll see some teen slides in there. They're there because I'm talking to teens too. And there's teens that are reviewing this. So don't let that bother you. The good news for the teens is you got a better chance than these old guys. You're not going to have to do as much work, and you're not going to have to go through as much pain as these older guys are going to go through. However, if you don't do anything about it now, then you're guaranteed to have that. So again, I am so happy and thrilled that you're here, because this is really the essence and the beginning of change. So this is kind of a roadmap. I don't know why road comes up so many times. I used to drive for a living in life. So for some reason, that's why roads come up. But here's what we're going to do today. And in the upfront portion, we're going to talk about what we're going to do, the introduction. And, you know, one of the messages that I want you to keep reminding yourself today as we go through, this is not your fault. It's not your fault. It's not your fault. But at the same time that it's not your fault, you have the power to change. And I'm going to sit here and look you dead in your face and tell you, if you don't take this information and turn it into a life that's changed, that'll be your fault. But as far as you being addicted, that's not your fault. Okay? As we move into the second session, we're going to talk about boundaries. We're going to talk about using boundaries, making little micro decisions that change and make a whole bunch of other decisions for you. One of the things we're going to talk about, I'll kind of give you a little share, but if you learn how to use boundaries, a good boundary is the equivalent to 5,000 good decisions. 5,000 good decisions off of one decision. What do you think can happen if you can make 25 different 5,000 decisions in one? So that's the power that boundaries get you. In other words, if you don't want to get in trouble in the house, you don't go in that neighborhood. If you can't find yourself out of trouble by not going in that neighborhood, don't go in that city. If that doesn't work, don't go in that county. If that doesn't work, don't go in that state. If that doesn't work, don't go in that country. That's what I'm talking about. Wiring your life to where you have boundaries. And if they don't work, you make them better. And boundaries will do a lot of the heavy lifting for you. Now, one of the things that is an inherent component of addiction is triggers. So obviously you're going to have to learn a trigger management system. Something happens, you get triggered, and you fall. Something happens, you get stressed, you need relief. And so on and so forth and so on and so forth. So we're going to help you understand and identify your triggers. But not only identify your triggers, as you look to the next, we're going to give you some coping strategy, give you some real technique that you can take to the bank that works, that will give you some results as you cope with it. And part of the coping strategies is basically tools. What I call it is recovery capital. So think of yourself as a project. Think of yourself as a multi-million-dollar business. So if you got all kinds of money in the bank, you think you're going to be a solid business versus a business that ain't got 15 cents? I mean, the answer's obvious. So we're going to teach you how to have a whole bunch of tools in your back pocket to deal with every kind of situation so that you can walk through this life strong and confident and not worrying about every little thing and how you're going to be triggered and how something's going to happen, how this is going to, I don't know, It's not going to be any, It's going to be taking action. As we move to section 6, it's relational. We're going to go into relationships, and we're going to go into you understanding and learning and teaching yourself and training yourself and guiding yourself to the things that contribute and develop good relationships. And you're also going to see how porn influences and wrecks relationships. And see, here's an area that you're really having some problem with, obviously, is relapse recovery. Oh, you relapsed. Okay. What do you do? How do you handle that situation? Because that's one of those turning point situations that many times people don't know what to do. So because they don't know what to do, they do what they've always done. Interesting. And then they take themselves down. And as a result of porn use, there's emotional stuff. So we need to give you some emotional tools, because one of the things that you have failed to learn as well as you could is that there's a thing called EQ. I know you understand IQ, which is intelligence. It's an intelligence evaluation system. Well, EQ is the same thing, but it's on an emotional level. And most of the time when you find somebody that it spends a lot of time in their addiction, it's because they have a low EQ. That's just one of the things that comes with it. So we're going to teach you how to work that out and how to learn how to bring your emotional level up so your EQ's up, so that you're not bouncing on depression and anxiety all the time, needing relief. Number 9, since I happen to be a Christian, it's called bringing in the king. And so that's spiritual warfare. We're going for it. Spiritual warfare in this matter. Now, when I talk about number 9 and bringing in the king and spiritual warfare, and, I am wrapped around Christians. I live somewhere where we have 2 churches on the property. I live somewhere where I can walk 40 feet and they bring chapel to me. And one of the things that I see when I talk to my brother, my brothers in Christ that are wound up and tied up and chained up, is they actually think that they can pray their way out of this. And I think that they really kind of can pray their way out of it. But the thing is, their prayer ain't right. So they're praying for it to go away versus praying, God, give me the strength to do what I need to do, to learn what it is I need to learn so that I can be a better person, so that I cannot do this behavior anymore. So they're praying that the behavior goes away instantly and they don't have to do any work or any of that. I've got news for you. That's not it. And I also got news for you, those who are real strong Christians and believe that you got to put it in God's hand, He's going to work it out for you, and things of that nature. You're wrong. You're wrong. Because here's the deal. Here's what I believe, having been in this game for 7-8 years. The people who don't do porn, the people who never will do porn again, like myself, what has happened is that those people grew. They grew in spirit and they also grew in maturity as men. And all the characteristics of mature, divine men, Christian or not, they grew as men. And so that being said, and with the depth of knowledge that I have, here's what I want you to know. Addiction recovery is about being a better person than you are. And it's also about being a different person. And it's also about dispensing with a bunch of characteristics that come with the pornified behavior. And so your father, who wants you to grow up, is not going to grant you freedom just because you prayed, because you don't grow up with that. And so let me say it this way. If you're a Christian, if everybody got salvation and went to heaven automatically, there'd be no need for you to ask for salvation. So therefore, if God just decided he was going to let everybody go to heaven, that would be going against the plan. So what I'm trying to tell you is God's plan with this is that you become a better person. So if you try to do it your own way and figure out, how to do it a different way, you get to go in circles. If God decided that you need to grow and this is a process of your growing and you were God, why would you grant somebody their freedom when they didn't learn how to respect it? You wouldn't. So this business about praying that it's going to go away, stop it. Pray that you get better, that you become a bigger person, that you get on a path and a track that's going to have you grow like never before, and then you have a bunch of people around you that's going to have you grow like never before. That's how you get off of it. Okay? And here's another thing that I often say to my Christian brothers, because a lot of them, they don't want, most of what I'm not, as you can see there, that's only one part of the whole thing. Everybody, those people want to make number 9 everything. You can't make it everything because it isn't everything. You can't. So again, number 10 is putting it all together. And if we were live, we'd do an 11, which is a question and answer. And maybe we can do a live on YouTube or something, and you can ask a bunch of questions. But that's the roadmap of what we've done, what we're going to do, and also some commentary so that you can get ready for the journey that we're going to take. So yeah, you've been doing an experiment on yourself, and quite frankly, it's not working. Is it not working? It ain't working. And the reason why, because you weren't meant to do it. It's an unfulfilling experience, and escalation is inevitable. Escalation is inevitable. And like I said, I will tell you later why I know escalation is inevitable. It's kind of right there, but you'll figure it out. I think I'll share it with you. Let me share it with you right now. The reason why you continuously escalate in your porn use, the reason why I can guarantee that you'll continue to escalate in your porn use is this. That wonderful king called God, he built something in us. And what he built in us was a toxicity resistor. And so our bodies, our systems, our souls, our spirits are designed to resist toxicity. And so what happens is that when we reject the toxicity, we don't get the thrill that we got from the toxicity. So what we do is we escalate to compensate. And then what our systems, our spirits, our souls, our bodies, our spirits, they reject it more. They put up a bigger wall. And what do? We douse it with more and douse it with more. What does our system do? Puts up more resistance, puts up more wall. What do? We escalate and douse it even more. So escalation is always going to be inevitable because of the fact that you weren't meant to have it. And as a result of you not meaning to have it, your soul, your system, etc., resists. And then you compensate by adding. So this is a secret life trap that you've been on. I get it. You can get off of it. One of the things nobody told you about was the consequences that are involved in this behavior. Brain response, relationship challenges, emotional distress. There's dehumanization that goes on with porn. People get treated like things. You start to think of people as things, which consequently causes relationship erosion. And you start to see people as something to consume versus something to love. So this journey is about reclaiming your identity, a mindset shift, environmental mastery, and reclaiming your life. True recovery is not just the absence of a behavior, but the presence of a new self. I'll say that again for you. True recovery is not the absence of a behavior, but it's the presence of a new self. And so that's what we're talking about, that new you. So sexting is a personal issue for me. And I know we have some kids that are going to be watching this. Kids is in their less than 18, but they're definitely involved in adult behavior. But yeah, sexting is porn. I'll get into that a little bit more as we go down, but it trains the brain the same way. And for the kids, y'all got to stop that, because you guys that are in school, when y'all do that, some of them pictures that you're sending, you're a juvenile, so therefore that's legally consequential images. And then when you're asking from some of your peers, that's also legal consequentially material that you have. It has legal consequences, all right? So in the essence of what's going on, okay, let me say this. We have micro and macro, and then we have porn. So we have micro problems, we have macro problems and all of these contribute to your porn use. All right. So one of your macro problems is you got a phone problem. You got a whack relationship with your phone. You wake up and I don't even know you from Adam. I don't even know you from Adam. And I know that you put your hand on your phone within 20 minutes of you. I'm sorry. 39 seconds of you waking up. 39 seconds of you waking up, you pick up the phone, and the first thing that you do is you get on somebody else's script. Because nothing that's on your phone, for the most part, is for you. It's somebody asking for something from you, and you haven't figured it out. You got a whack relationship with your phone that needs to change, and you think your phone's a toy. I'm not trying to be mean or anything like that, but you need to stop using your phone as a toy. It's a tool. And you need to start using your phone as a tool to help you get better, and not a tool that's going to keep hurting you. Like I said, I'm not mean. I just keep it 100. All right. So you need to change your relationship with all of your electronics. You need to have digital mindfulness, digital awareness. You need to set clear boundaries about how you're going to use these things. You need to not just put the things in your hand all randomly. You need to be deliberate with your electronics. And as you know, that word just came out of my mouth that's got to go away in your life. Random. This is a war on randomness. You can't do randomness anymore. You've done randomness for as long as you're going to get away with randomness. You've stepped into a world where it's intentionality. You've got to be intentional about what it is that you do. You have to be intentional and deliberate, and you have to continuously be intentional and deliberate until your actions catch up with you. And your actions catch up with you when you've done the new behaviors long enough that your identity changes, and then your behavior changes. It's just that simple. So all this holding your breath and turning on a cold shower and hoping and, I got day one, day this and day. Come on, man. That's not going to get you there. It's about an identity change that causes a behavior change. All this holding your breath, day this and day that. Nope. But here's a question that I invite you to ask. It's an interesting question, actually. How many lifetime hours have you invested using porn? How many? Think about that one. I'm going to show you a slide about that in a second. So here's what pornography is basically. It's something that's sexually explicit. Doesn't have to be sexually explicit. But generally speaking, it's something is sexually explicit with the intended purpose of stimulating you, whether it's written, audio-based, or visual. Could be videos, images, magazines from my day. But the purpose is to trigger sexual excitement. And that's just it. All right. Porn, as I mentioned, is a maladaptive coping mechanism for stress and negative emotions. It's a self-soothing negative coping strategy that doesn't work. And it's a childhood solution that's going to be an adult problem if you don't stop, or is an adult problem if you're an adult. Addiction is an unhealthy way to meet needs. You're trying to meet needs by using the addiction to meet the needs. Connection, belonging, meaning, purpose, managing stress. You're trying to find a way to meet those needs. And so if you learn techniques and strategies and capital and all that stuff like that, you don't need any unhealthy way to meet your needs. The goal is not to eliminate the need, but to find a elegant way to meet the need. Because the need's going to stay there. But it's how you fulfill the need that has to change. So I put this lock here for a specific reason. And your recovery, there's a combination to it. You've got to do certain things, and they are specific to you. And that's why you have to go on this journey, because this journey will go into the pieces and parts and the corners and the cracks of your life so that you can see what it is that you need to modify. But where you are right now and you're trying to quit porn, you don't have the numbers that you need to dial up. And you're trying to dial up numbers, and you're changing the numbers as you're trying to dial up the numbers. You don't even have the right numbers. You don't even know how many numbers there are to dial in. And so this journey is just stop and slow down and figure out what it is that you need to do so that you can do it. But if you don't figure out what is the unique needs, the unique things that you need to do, it's almost impossible to stop. And it's one of the things that I see happening so many times in various communities out there, where the person tries to get a whole bunch of information about somebody else's journey and use somebody else's journey to help their own healing journey. And that's somewhat good. It's good to look at that. But the things that you need to do are different than the things that somebody else needs to do. And the reason being is because you got here a little bit different than they did. There's basic things that are the same, but the individualized plan that you need to take is different than somebody else. Nobody has the exact same specific exact plan. The generality of it is the same, but there is a combination. And you need to find out what that combination is so that you can unlock it. And as I began in my story, I told you that I was willing to figure it out. I was willing to give myself the time to get that combination. So some of these slides are going to kind of go out of order because one of the things that I can tell you that porn does is cause ADD. And that's kind of stays with you. So it's kind of hard to organize. And these are things that we need to learn. So there's going to be some slides that are going to be out of order, and that's just how it is. It'll all come together. But one of the things I want you to know is that porn has done things to you. And one of the things that it's done to you is it's changed the way that you treat people. And so one of the things that you'll see as you grow is that you will start to change. You will start to see people and treat people different. A specific area that really drops to the ground is how people treat women. And so this is just a little thing that I put there for you. Yeah, you need to treat women like they're your mom. Every woman. The same way that you would want your daughter treated down the road. That needs to be the standard of how you treat women. And so if you have that as a standard, I can guarantee you the way that you're going to treat these people is going to be magnificent. And not only that, I think you might have quality relationships as a result. So this is stuff that comes to play when we're actually in a when we're in a group session. This slide here for the group session. But one of the things that I want you to begin to say it's not okay anymore is the beat up. Because I know that people that do porn, they do a lot of beat up of themselves. And so I want you to learn how to learn and not beat up yourself. If you make a mistake, acknowledge the mistake and then decide how you're going to handle the situation differently the next time. Make a mistake, figure out how to handle the situation better next time. But what we do is we make a mistake and then we call ourselves all kinds of names that we would not tolerate from anybody. And we do it with such passion, repetitiveness. And that does not feed us the way that we need to be fed so that we can change and move. So this whole journey is a journey of honesty, my friends. And me being me, I got to tell you that honesty, that's going to be a big area for you because there's some micro problems, a bunch of them as we talked about. And one of the micro problems as a result of porn use is that you lie a lot more than the average person. It's just one of those things that comes with the addiction, my friend. I didn't make the rules, but you lie more than the average person. In fact, I always tell people, you can tell how much you're growing by how less you're lying. Yep. So, yeah, let's normalize the conversation about recovery. One of the things, this is a big area that we just talked about, but this is a growth process. So we're not looking for perfection. You got it. You keep playing that all or nothing game. And what you need to learn how to do is progressively grow. And that's how growth happens. Now, something to think about. Like I said, this is about growing up and being a bigger person and gaining a bunch of life skills. And so that's what we're talking about, because the life skills that you gain, those are your micro recovery capital. So it's a bunch of little habits that you're going to put together that are going to be the pillars and foundation that hold you up. And one of them is realizing that your life is shaped by what you say yes to and what you say no to and what you don't say no to and what you don't say yes to. That's just shaping. So you need to learn how to make more powerful decisions. And ultimately, like I said, the phone is a problem, and you need to learn how to make your phone the tool of greatness. It's a tool and not a toy. And that happens by growing every day in pieces, figuring out what you need to do through insight and not hope, and to do it. Keep your eye on the prize. Stay focused in a distracted world. You're not the first one that went through this. You're not going to be the last. And so there's some slides to help you understand how we got here. Because what you need to know is that the porn industry has been deliberate and has waged a deliberate attack on you. It's a scripted industry, my friend. You think it's a private habit, huh? No, it's scripted. And they're doing it deliberate. They're distorting your vision. They're gaining profit, and they're lying. $97 billion worth of lying, my friend. Look at this action. There's people getting it. They getting it at your expense. This is some of the costs on you. Brain fog, focus issues, cognitive symptoms. Emotional and psychological toll, emotional numbness. We talked about the escalation. Increased anxiety because you're worrying about what's going on when you get caught with somebody see you doing all that nasty stuff you're doing. Huh? Yeah. And so one of the things that happens with porn use is that you become relief oriented. Let me figure out how to give me some relief. See? And you don't grow like that. For some reason, my slide says hit the snooze button. So here's a habit, a micro habit, real small habit that you can develop right now. And if you really want to grow, you'll take everything that I'm saying to the bank, because I'm not saying anything just to say it. But here's something of value that possibly can change your life. Don't hit the snooze button on your alarm clock anymore. Don't hit it. Don't hit it. Don't hit it. You know why? Because you're making a decision. And the decision you're making is the first decision, if not the second decision you're making. You're making the decision to be a slacker. You know that? You're hitting that snooze button. Let me slack for 10 minutes. But that's the first decision you make. If you get up, you're not making the first decision to slack. And my question is this: if my first decision of the day was to slack, and my second decision of the day was to have my brain hijacked by picking up my phone, what's the likelihood of that being a fantastic day versus if my alarm goes off, I pick up my alarm, I wake up and I say, oh God, thank you for giving me another day to breathe this fresh air. I'm so excited about this. I'm going to do all these magnificent things. I'm going to care for people that make a difference and love people and just guide me and give me all the strength today. What's the difference in the day? So that's why you don't have to do it the way I just finished doing it. But what I did was I showed you two different kinds of contrasts. In the day of hitting that snooze button first thing in the morning, my friend, It's got to stop. One of the reasons why I'm not cool with sexting is these reasons here. Also, this is another area that you're not paying attention to. Everything you ever did or do online is recorded somewhere. Everything. Everything. And it doesn't go away. You know, I had an email. I think my first email, I'm going to date you guys. I think my first email was 1997. You know, those emails from 1997 are still available somewhere. Yeah. So, yeah, it doesn't go anywhere, my friends. It doesn't go anywhere. So these are some slides for you to think about and to put into your little thinking cap, shall we say, and you can screenshot that if you like. Because this is the war that you've got to deal with. And this war that you sit there and see right there, dude, that's I'm going to hold my breath. Oh, I'm going to take a cold shower day one. This ain't got nothing to do with that foolishness. This is real stuff where you're paying attention to how you're living and deciding that you're going to live differently. All right? All right. So there's a cycle of addiction that I talked about. And I said that it was like you being on a treadmill, because it is like you being on a treadmill. And here's how it works. You're right here. Oh, everything's cool. I'm cool. I'm cool. Day one. Day. Just a little side note. I read a bunch of posts in different places and watched these guys talk about how they're recovering and day this and day that, and they eventually fall and day, and they get excited, day 100, day this, day, and then eventually fall because it doesn't work like that. Day ain't got nothing to do with it. So what happens is they're number one, day, and then all of a sudden some kind of trigger happens, some kind of uncomfortable situation. They get called out on the carpet. They get a stress situation. Something bad happens. They find themselves, somebody rejects them. Something happens and they get triggered. And then what they do, oh, nobody's looking. I hope nobody's looking. Let me go ahead and shut this door. Let me look at my phone so nobody sees me. Yeah. And then, yeah. And then the next thing they do is they act out. And that's the active engagement in the addiction. And then they regret it and they call themselves a bunch of names that they never would allow anybody to say about them in real life. And all that does is just bring them down level after level with each word that comes out of their mouth. They take themselves back to the dungeon of toxicity. And then after they wear themselves out by calling themselves every kind of name in the book and cursing themselves out every kind of different way, they're coming up with some new different curse words. After they get tired of all that, I'm going to do this thing. I'm going to really do this thing. Day. Day one. So what you need to do is you need to get off of this cycle. And that's really what this course is about. Because if you don't know how to get off of this cycle, this is what you got. This is what you've been experiencing. This should be an eye-opener. Trigger, preparation, acting out, calling yourself names. Everything's cool in the gang. Day one, trigger, preparation, shutting the doors, locking everything, acting out, calling yourself names, cussing yourself out. Day one. All right. So this workshop is about getting off of that addictive cycle. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to stop right here for you.